Up next will be Danica Patrick, the sensational rookie, in the car, as Brian Barnhart will lean over and give her instructions for what could be a landmark day here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's listen in down trackside.
I hope you can hear me. Pull out of here, go right up on the racetrack. Start bringing in your tires the way you want them. Bobby's at the north end. If he wants you to start the run, you'll get the green flag third time by. No flag or a yellow flag's a non-attempt. The green flag starts your first attempt, 4 laps for running. About the same conditions you had this morning. Get a look at the flags and the windsocks. Get a look at your flag and windsocks for direction and velocity on that. Be comfortable, be smooth, relax. It's just 4 good practice laps. Third time by, and give me 4 good ones. Hell of a job this week. Let's keep it smooth and precise. Put her in the same spot on the track. Ready when you're warm enough.
We're ready whenever you are.
Okay.
Well, the crews have tried to keep Danica away from everyone else to have her with her thoughts this morning after that sensational warm-up at 2:29.880. A week ago, she sat on the front row at Motegi and turned heads around the world. She backed it up with an impressive run at Motegi, leading 32 laps, only to finish 4th because she had to conserve fuel in the final laps. This could be a day we make history at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A century of racing, there has never been a woman on the front row. There has never been a female on the pole. The last rookie to sit on the pole some 22 years ago when Teo Fabi, the impressive Italian, did it. As you look at Bobby Rahal. And Bobby has been more nervous all week long than has his driver, Danica Patrick. And Jamie, we saw you talking to Bobby Rahal. What are his thoughts? What did he have to say to you?
Well, Jerry, you called it. He's very, very nervous right now. He has had this driver, Danica Patrick, for 3 years now. He's brought her to this level. This is their moment. Let's see if we can make history happen with the first female driver. Guys?
At 10 years old, Greg Ray, she started in go-kart racing, and at 15, when someone walked in a room with a camcorder, she showed all the trophies and had one little shelf open and said, "That's for the Indy 500 someday."
Yeah, she said it all along that this was her dream. This is what she was going to do for her. Now, everybody's saying she's a rookie and she doesn't have a lot of experience, but you know what? She's trained her whole life for this. She's been very, very fast. I know her veins are full of electricity right now, but you know, I hope she can relax and I hope she can do what she's done all week long. It's been very, very impressive.
She said yesterday during the rain delay she did not sleep at all the night before, anticipating pole day on Saturday, although she did get some sleep last night according to her parents. As Bobby Rahal, it is Rahal Letterman, David Letterman watching back in New York. Bobby Rahal here on site. A year ago, it was a dream month for Rahal Letterman when Buddy Rice sat on the pole. They won the pit stop competition and won the race. Could the dream repeat here in 2005 with a phenomenal effort by a sensational rookie?
You can look at her rear wing, and she has as least a downforce of anybody that I've seen run. The front of that rear wing is very, very high, and you could just tell talking to her all week long that she was going to go for it, and by the look of the downforce on her car, she's absolutely going for it.
All right, here we go. The green flag waves for Danica Patrick.
The car looked a little nervous there in turn 1.
The car, a bit of a wiggle there. She saved it. The car wobbling a little bit as she has got that wing tilted up. There is no downforce. It looks to be lift in the back of the car.
Yeah, that car is definitely going to dance in the corners.
She was the quickest on Sunday and Monday in rookie orientation. Quickest lap of the month this Thursday. Backed it up with an incredible lap this morning in practice at almost 230 miles per hour.
This will be the tell of the tape on where she's at.
Well, first time by, she is slower than she was this morning, 224.920. And how much did that wiggle a moment ago down in turn 1 have to do with that?
Yeah, definitely. She must lift it off of it. That's a very slow lap compared to what she was running this morning. So I'm sure she got off the throttle, and that's the telltale tape. If you can't stay flat for all 16 corners, and certainly turn 1, lap 1, you're just not going to be able to be a threat for the pole.
And we got to remind you now, there are 3 attempts allowed per car per day. So if she doesn't get it done here, this being her first attempt, she can come back 2 more times before 7 o'clock Eastern time. Remember, we're going to be back on the air from 6 to 7 for that dramatic final hour of qualifying.
Yeah, she really picked it up there, 2:27.6. She's starting to relax, and that's the good thing about the rules. It really, if it would have been 11 cars yesterday, it would have been extremely exciting. Today, there's going to be 22 cars, but everybody can really pretty much stick with the first time, make sure they get a guaranteed, you know, cards on the table, and if they want to come back and go for it later, they can do that, and that's just sort of a safety mechanism.
3 women have started the Indianapolis 500. Janet Guthrie did it 3 times, Lynn St. James 7 times, and Sarah Fisher 5 times. She could become the 4th woman to qualify here at Indy. White flag for Danica Patrick. The best qualifying ever by a woman, 6th by Lynn St. James in 1994. Currently, Danica Patrick sits 3rd on the outside of row 1 as we are early on here in pole day.
Lap 2 and lap 3 were almost identical, so she's picked the pace up and really pushing for it now.
First attempt, and I'm saying first attempt because I've got to believe that team, as well as Danica, believe they've got a lot more left in this car. As the day progresses, I'm sure we're going to see another attempt, maybe even all 3 out of this Argent Pioneer machine. Danica Patrick's laps, 4 laps by. 2:24.9, 2:27.6, 2:27.6, and the average 2:27.004. 3rd quickest thus far in qualifying, and now the big smile from Bobby Rahal.
That last lap, lap 4, was the fastest lap of the day.
Now, moments ago, Danica Patrick made her first attempt of the day and climbed out of the car, and there were so many mixed emotions. You wonder if was she relieved, was she angry, or was she frustrated? Let's check in with Vince Welch.
Danica Patrick sitting here, and maybe not even a sigh of relief. The photographers and the fans, it's incredible the attention that this young lady has drawn. But Danica, when you stepped out of the car, it was obvious you were not happy with the run. What left you dissatisfied?
The fact that I almost spun it in turn 1 in the first lap. I think there's a certain point in being too free, and it's not that we're trying to make it like that, but you know, the winds change, the temperatures change, and that changes the downforce and the grip level of the car. So you know, we just missed it a little bit, and you know, I don't know, we still want pole, so you know, we might go back out. We're going to talk about it, you know.
The video showed it was a definite moment for you. How close were you to losing it?
About 3 times close. Yeah, too much, way too much.
What's the target? You say you might go back out for a 2nd or a 3rd attempt. What's the target speed for you? Do you have a thought in your mind as to what you believe it's going to take to be on the pole?
It's going to take being above a 2:27.5 every lap, and the last 3 laps I was, but you know, when you almost spin it on the first lap and you're 2 miles an hour off, you got a lot of catching up to do. I couldn't have barely done 2:30 and caught up, so you know, it's just frustrating because I've been quick, you know, and I want to be pole. I don't want to be 3rd right now, and there's still the rest of the line to go.
Congratulations on a good solid run in those last 3 laps. Danica Patrick still on the front row.
All right, let's take a look at your 4-lap qualifying run. We're going to pick it up on the back stretch of the 2nd warm-up lap. You tell us what you're thinking about, and then I'll let you 2 guys, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this.
Well, for me, this run, I'll just start it off. There's not going to be a lot to say because it's easy. You guys know when a car is good, it's easy. And there was no understeer, which is one of the issues that we've been dealing with all month long. So I put a couple pounds of crossweight into the left front to wrap it around the corner, and that's about it.
And your run was very consistent, all in that 224 range, so that tells you the car is consistent like you're talking about. But when you say putting some left front crossweight into it, I think for the people at home, that's something that you do when you're actually inside the cockpit.
Right.
You're making those adjustments, so you're really feeling the car all the way around the racetrack, trying to make it better when you're driving it.
Right.
Was it to a point where you thought maybe I should have taken a little bit more aero off this thing to make it go a little bit quicker?
You know, we've been struggling all month with taking aero off and losing grip because we just slide then and just go slower or not really any faster. So we've been apprehensive to do that. So we didn't trim out this year as much as we did last year.
We listened on your radio earlier, and you were saying that, yeah, we took some aero off it and the car just slid around. It was a little twitchy getting in, a little tied off and it really didn't do anything for you. But in your qualifying effort, and congratulations on top 10. That's got to make you feel a lot better. But was it just a solid, effortless lap, like you said, just wide open, misguided for 4 laps?
Yep.
And you've tried to take the arrow off and it didn't do anything, so you got what you got, right?
That's right. We got what we got. We tried a little bit of a trim out earlier today. It didn't work. Then we tried it again and it did. So we stuck with the car. We didn't even do a set down to make sure everything was right after practice this morning. We just took the car, taped it up, went down to grid, and qualified it.
Well, one thing I know, I hope you feel the same way. You're talking 500 miles and you're 10th.
Yeah.
That's a great qualifying position.
I like I said, I was just hoping that I would be in the top 10. I thought that would be a great starting position, and we are. And 500 miles, I could start 30th and still do something. So
How did this compare to last year when you qualified 4th?
Well, to be really honest with you, in the context of the situation last year versus this year, I'm a lot happier this year. Last year, it was a pole car. It was fast enough. And, you know, while I give myself credit for not lifting and willing to put it out there and go flat my first lap, there was a mistake, and I caught the car, so that's a good side of it. But also, it didn't reach its optimal position, and I feel like in this qualifying session I got the most out of the car. We worked so hard this month to make the car better, and we did. So it's a victory for myself and the whole team.
To run 2:22.6, Scott, like she did, and listen to what you're telling us, Danica, how your car is so solid, and you're 10th on the grid, I would think you really got to be feeling good about this 500, because you know you can draft your way up to the front. It's pit stops, a lot of things like that. Are you feeling that good, that the car is that good for the 500?
I am. We filled it up with fuel at one point yesterday, and the car actually had some speed in it, which I was scared of because we'd been trying to peel downforce off of it and go fast, and it would still do like 222 or 222 mid, and I was so mad. And we put the fuel in the car, added downforce, and still did 221. So I think that means it's a pretty good race car, at least, and at least I hope so. The victory in it all will be to have a consistent race car. That's going to be a real battle, and that always is in the race conditions, is to have a car that handles the same to the beginning to the end of the fuel runs and the race.
There's some news breaking down in the pits as Danica Patrick rolls out onto the track for her first attempt. Jack Root, what's going on?
Well, fellas, when Danica Patrick first started racing karts, the inspiration, the mechanic, the family, they traveled together. And for TJ Patrick, since that day, he has watched his daughter climb the ladder to IndyCar stardom. TJ Patrick is down here on pit road, and I visited with him just moments ago. We talked about what this day means, and TJ teared up, began to cry, and said, "Jack, this is what the season counts for each and every year." As he was sobbing, he said, "I'm not wearing the sunglasses today because the sun's out. I'm still kind of macho."
It is an emotional place. You were talking about hearing Tom Carnegie's voice, Dr. McGill.
You know, it was very emotional for me because I've heard his voice for so many years, even before I got here, when I used to come to the Indianapolis Speedway as a boy and just sort of hang out and watch these races. And it was just so neat to be able to have him here in studio and call that in what really is his last time. And I'll make no bones about it. I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes. It was amazing.
It was a pretty emotional day. But I'll tell you, one reason that Danica's father is so emotional at the moment, Danica's got a chance to sit on the pole, Marty. She's been really quick in practice. You know, if you're not in the hunt, so to speak, you're not running good, you're not really wound up. But he is emotional and wound up, but she's been so strong. I'm really looking forward to this first lap out of her because she's been great. Look at her car pushing 230 miles an hour down her front straightaway. 229 and some speed. We'll see what she's got here this first lap.
As she continues through the short chute, through turn 2. Danica Patrick, of course, has started twice here at Indianapolis. Shook the world back 2 years ago when she led 19 laps on her way to a 4th place finish. Actually, most of us felt like she drove even a stronger race last year with a less powerful entry when she finished 8th.
You know, and that's common sometimes because sometimes you're not up in the forefront right there in the top 3 where you have a situation where you're in the limelight, but you've actually driven harder. And I think she did do a better job last year than the previous year, but no doubt the pressure is on her wherever she goes, and especially here in Indianapolis.
So her first lap at 224.175, that is not good enough to take over the pole position. That would put her on the outside of row number 1 right now.
So now she knows how the car reacts, and the engineers are looking back on their computers in the pit lane right now in their telemetry, seeing what the car is doing and radioing to her saying, you need to do this with the bars or this with the weight jacker, make some of those adjustments that's available to the driver inside the cockpit to tune the car to the racetrack, because it's getting hotter, and as the day goes on, Rusty, this track will get a little bit slower.
Well, as the track gets slower and it gets hotter, the handling does go away. Now, Scott, this morning she ran 226.05, so the car had the speed in it. Obviously, the handle's going away a little bit, and you can bet that she's moving the weight jacker, she's moving the sway bars, she's trying to get all he can. Now, that's in a consistent lap. 224.15. Look at that first lap, 1.7 to 1.5.
Well, watch here, and let me point something out. To go fast around here, you need to use all the track. On the entry, you get down to the apex where she's headed right now, and then all the way out to the wall. Now, previously, as is there, I think she's not driving the car all the way to the wall because it's not working comfortably for her. She's not comfortable with it. She's fighting it inside the cockpit a little bit, giving her that extra room off the wall. No doubt, I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull this car out and try again.
Now, with that happening, Scott, as the car is going out at the wall and she's running more of a line closer, probably indication that the front end's pushing, sliding the front nose, understeer, whatever you want to call it. But that, you know, she can't let that thing run out and tag that wall, so she's been a little conservative, right?
That's tight. That's what you say over there, tight.
Tight. We call it tight. We call it tight, pushing in stock car land. What do you guys call it? Understeer, right?
Understeer.
Yeah. Okay.
I was impressed. You did get understeer in there. All right, so far, 3 laps, 224 and change. It's not going to be a good enough run to take over the pole. The question is, where will she put this car here in her first qualifying attempt at Indy? Checkered flag is out. Dad's happy, and Danica is on the outside of row number 1. 224.076 miles an hour. So far, it is Briscoe, Dixon, and Danica Patrick. But let's quickly, we've caught up with Danica Patrick. Let's hear from her on her run. Vince?
Well, Marty, Danica described it as average. Where could it have been better for you?
I think that the car's balance wasn't perfect. So, unfortunately, I think we scrubbed a little in the corners, which around here can cost you because they're long corners and it's a big track and you've got some long straights after them. So, unfortunately, we didn't go as quick as we did earlier today. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to unfold. I don't know if it's getting warmer, getting slower, if that was just kind of a tough run for us. I'm not sure. I think we'll have to see how it pans out in round 1 here and see where we go from there.
From a team perspective, as you guys talked about the day this morning, where is your goal to be at the end of the day? What spot, what row?
Oh, well, I was front row, hopeful, you know, for sure. I thought with a little bit of luck, after this morning's practice, maybe even pole, but after that run, no, balance wasn't perfect, so that's not going to get us there. It'll be interesting. I don't know. Obviously, being only one day, you know, the first day Saturday qualifying top 11, I don't know what we're going to see. I don't know if we're going to see more people going out. I don't know if I'll go out again. But for right now, it was a run. It was a solid run, but it wasn't like something super to write home about.
Rolling out is the number 7 of Danica Patrick, and of course, it wasn't that long ago when history was made for Danica as she won her first race in the IndyCar Series back at Twin Ring Motegi. And this is what it looked like from on board Helio Castroneves as he had to slow down. He was running out of fuel. She had calculated along with her engineers, and boy, they did a nice job. Mom was excited, and Danica let the emotions flow. At the time, she said she regretted it, but now looking back on it, she's glad she did. And there's the smiling face of a happy family. And the only one who missed it was Sister Brooke. She was still back here in the States, and she was crying on the phone. We had that live as well. And right now, Danica on her warm-up lap. You know, guys, we talked about this. Legitimately, there are about 7 to 8 cars that have a shot at the pole. She's one of them.
I think she's definitely one of them. She's always had a very good history in IndyCar racing at qualifying. She's getting much better every year at racing, and she won one this year. But she is definitely in the run for the pole position. But what she's gained from is the fact that Marco just ran.
Well, and I'm also noticing she's sparking quite a bit. So what are you reading into that, Scott?
Well, the tire pressures have to come up, the pressures have to come up, and temps and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully when she gets through to the green flag, which she just took to start her 4-lap run, let's see the car go through turn 1 right now. Just some small sparks, and hopefully that's just enough to keep it off the deck, because that does slow the car down just a touch.
223 miles an hour was her warm-up lap on that last one. And in the upper right, that is Mom Bev on the right, Sister Brooke next to her, as they anxiously await Danica's effort. This is really one of her best tracks. I mean, she does very well here.
Well, she's been here 3 times, and she's qualified in the top 10 each time and finished in the top 10 each time, so she certainly likes this track. Matter of fact, she said, I think it's one of my favorite tracks.
Jack, you've got more?
Yeah, there's an advantage when you are teammates, the way Danica Patrick is with Tony Kanaan, Marco Andretti, and Hideki Muto. When Muto put that lap up and he qualified a couple of cars ahead of her, he radioed down, tell Danica's team to make the car more neutral. That's precisely what they have done in this qualifying effort, a last-minute adjustment here for Danica Patrick.
And it's paying dividends. Take a look at lap number 1, 225.3. She's in the green on the lap tracker. It is oh so close as she's heading for turn 4 to conclude lap number 2, and the speed is staying up through the lap, through that corner, and here she comes across the yard of bricks. We'll get lap number 2. Is she a threat to take over the pole? 225.255. That would give her an average of 225.3. It's going to be oh so close.
She had a big jump there going in on the speed going into 1. If she keeps this up, she looks like she's on a run to take the first place.
And remember, Eddie, on her first lap going into turn 1, lap tracker showed that she was a little bit behind Scott Dixon. So she's corrected that problem. She's now going faster down into 3. And you've been in the seat before. You know what you're thinking right now. Just keep it perfect. Don't turn the steering wheel too much. Don't scrub off too much speed. Keep the RPMs up and use up as much track as I possibly can.
With the least amount of steering. She knows the speed she's on, and they're telling her, they're probably, I don't know what radio feedback she's getting, but she knows that she's on an excellent run here.
Well, something happened now to 4. It dipped just a little, 225.050. That's her average there at 225.221. That's still enough to take over pole, but she cannot afford to make a mistake, and there goes the line. It's in the green. Down the backstretch, heading towards turn number 3. How much speed does she scrub off through 3 and 4? A little bit on 3. 4 was the nemesis last lap. Can she make it through clean? Dipping oh so close to going red. Here she comes down to the stripe. Does she take the pole position away provisionally here at Indianapolis? Danica, 225.1 miles an hour. She is your provisional pole sitter. 225.197. Don't know if it'll hold up, but fellas, this is going to be fun today.
Well, we expected speeds of 227s, but in the morning it's always faster, Eddie. You and I talked about that watching the warm-ups this morning, seeing Marco turn 228, but those are all the advantage of tow. So right now it's 4 laps by yourself, no tow whatsoever, and, you know, Marco couldn't turn the big lap, and Dixon's very close. You know, this might not be pole, but it might just stay on the front row, but the best part's yet to come because everybody can withdraw their car and try again.
And I think you're going to see that. The biggest gain that she had is that she ran after Marco. She had information from that team, and now, don't forget, after Dixon, he's got a teammate that's not too slabby right now.
Well, both of them. You got Dan Weldon, who can learn from Dixon, and then you've got Tony Kanaan still to come, who can learn from both Marco and Danica's run.
And as track conditions change throughout the day, and we expect a very good day, constant temperatures, remember, as Jack mentioned earlier on, the track will get very fast here around 4 o'clock. And as he mentioned, it's going to be a feeding day at the zoo down there to go out there for another run late in the day.
Jack, you've got more?
Yeah, because we have 3 qualifying attempts, Danica Patrick can enjoy the provisional pole right now, but they've already told her, look, let's get this car through tech inspection as quickly as possible. We need to be ready to go again later today.
So already they're thinking like we're thinking that this is going to be a shootout to come around 5 to 6 o'clock in that last hour.
These new rules sure have made a difference, haven't they?
It's
10 years ago, you didn't do that.
Exactly. And, you know, 10 years ago, you came around and your team owner or manager stood down there on the inside of turn 4 and would either raise the yellow flag or else would let you go and complete it by keeping the green up, and that's the situation.
Well, there she is, and Vince has caught up with her.
Danica, during the course of the run, Kyle Moyer was encouraging you to use your tools in the car. How was the car changing during your 4 laps?
Well, I don't think I really had the ability to crank on the tools too much. I didn't just have one problem, I had 2, which means front and back. So we were definitely running on the edge the whole way around the corner from entry out. So, you know, I think that this just shows that, you know, I mean, I was nervous going in. I had not done a full 4-lap qualifying simulation, at all this week. So I didn't know what I was going to get, but my engineer Martin did a great job, and we worked our tail off as much as we could this week, and thankfully the Motorola car is on the pole right now, but things are going to change this afternoon. I promise that.
And speaking of change, you have 3 opportunities actually to qualify this car. Do you foresee putting it out there again, even though you're obviously going to be solidly in the top 11?
Yeah, I do. You know, I think the gamble will be how far is the track going to go? Like, how much quicker is it going to be? And all the engineers know that with temperature and the humidity levels and stuff. So we'll be able to gauge it, but you know, I think we have a fast enough car to be on the pole, if not the front row. That's always nice.
So going on to the racetrack is Danica Patrick. She ran a 2:22.9 in practice this morning. Her best lap was a 2:24.755 yesterday. And weather conditions are not a great deal different except for the wind. It's about the same temperature, about the same cloud cover, but the wind is the factor here this afternoon.
And the wind is the one thing that messes with the driver's head. Temperature's okay because it's kind of a constant, but the wind isn't a constant, Bob.
Now, she always qualifies well here. She's been in the top 10 all 4 times. This is a place when it comes to qualifying, but wow, there's a lot of dragging. That's as much titanium sparks as we've seen. That car's low.
I remember just was seeing that and seeing an AGR car out here. It was either last year or the year before, as Tony Kanaan was sparking the whole way around here, and I was like, boy, that can't be really that good, but he posted a great time. Danica, I talked to her briefly yesterday. At the end of the day, it was starting to sprinkle rain, and we were standing there. I said, boy, your new car looks really good, like the paint scheme. But she said, yeah, we're going to make small and smart changes, absolutely calm and confident about her race car.
Down to Libby Thaxton.
Will, the current pole sitter, I know it's early, but do you feel like the time's good enough?
No, I don't think that one will stick, actually. It's quite comfortable for me, so we'll go back and think about it. Hopefully the guys let me go out and have another attack. Yeah, we'll see what happens to the weather as well. You don't know. Maybe the wind will pick up later on in the day, so we just got to be careful.
You've got 2 teammates. What will you say to Elio and Ryan to help them out about these conditions?
Yeah, I'll just tell them that, nothing much has really changed since this morning, so yeah, the setup we got this morning is quite valid.
Thank you, Will. Good luck.
Thank you.
That's Will Power, who is currently the pole sitter. We have only had 6 qualifiers. Danica will be the number 7. 2:21.903 was her first lap. She's off of corner number 4. And halfway through the 10-mile run. Second lap for Danica Patrick, 2:21.889, just a tick of the watch slower.
Again, this is the point in the run now as you get into the second 2 laps where you're going to use those adjustments to the car. Jan talked about the weight jacker. We have the sway bars in there. Whatever she has to do to keep freeing the car, because sometimes when you lose, the tires have the most grip the first 2 laps, and then that grip falls away. So as that grip falls away, sometimes you tend to pick up a little bit of a push. So you need to either soften the front bar, stiffen the rear bar, or take a little jacker and put some more weight to the left front to help the car to turn.
White flag. 3 laps completed, 2:21.579. So she continues to lose just a little bit.
I found it interesting listening to what Will just said there, is the car was too comfortable. It wasn't enough on the edge. It wasn't, I didn't have to hold on. And that's just what Carnegie said. That's right. Carnegie read over thing, if it's comfortable, it's not quick.
That's right. You're too slow.
I liked it to be comfortable here. Comfortable and quick was great.
Comfortable is okay for the race. Just that's not what you want for qualifying.
And the checkered flag is out for Danica Patrick, 4th lap. 221.769. She picked it up just a bit. Her lap average is 221.785. And she is 4th among the 7 that have qualified so far.
Less than that. So, Linda, you got Danica?
Yeah, we've got Danica right here. Talk a little bit about your run.
I was really scared coming
was all over the place, and we made a few adjustments with the car going into qualifying. And had probably my fastest outlap of the month, and then just didn't go much faster than that. So I don't really know. It was just slow. I was flat out the whole way around, and the car was pretty steady. I went faster this morning lifting. So
what did you hear Marco say about the conditions after his run and take from that?
You know, we just kind of heard that he had some understeer, but that was about it. So other than that, it was fine. So
do you think your time's good enough to make the top 11 when you go back out?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not good enough. It's pretty sad.
You've started in the top 10 all 4 times you've been here. How important is starting position at Indy?
It's important, but I think it's more important for everyone to just, everyone from top down to be in the first day so you don't have to worry about it. Thank you, Danica.
Before you roll out. And it's not just any member on the team that can sign that form. It's got to be, you got to have the authority.
Somebody like Robbie Buell. Yeah, right.
I wouldn't do that. I'd pass that to Dennis. I'm like, you're signing something like that. You know, I wasn't bored yesterday. I wouldn't put my name on that.
Rafael Matos is on the bubble with a 4-lap average of 221.527. Danica Patrick is out there for her second attempt today.
Remember, we talked about the importance, well, not the importance, but just the idea if you go out on those warm-up laps and you run a little too hard, you don't want to take the life and extra grip out of that tire before it counts at lap 1, 2, 3, 4.
And you heard her teammate, team leader Tony Kanaan, talk about with this wind, he was changing. First time by. He was changing the car with the tools every straightaway. He wanted something different into 3 than he wanted into 1, and every single lap he was working with the tools at the same time that you have the most focus that you have for 10 miles.
Not a perfect scenario.
But, but as Rick Mears says, lots of fun.
Yeah, it's fun because of the sense of accomplishment. Like, you made a great, that was a great point that you kind of tried to bring out of him. Say, it wasn't that much fun when you're doing it, was when you're done. He's like, well, okay.
Okay, here we go. Danica Patrick onto the front stretch. And she begins her second attempt to qualify. She withdrew her previous attempt that put her 10th out of 11. Let's see if she can up the average.
4th gear right now. So obviously they're running a 4th, 5th high gear combo. Usually you'll see people in 5th, 6th right now. Doesn't matter.
You have to run, not as in the past, you must have all 6 gears in the box working. For a while they used to just put 1 in for qualifier,
yeah,
1 or 2.
2-speed they used to call, but now you're right. Everybody, you have to have 6 gears in that car.
It's your first lap. And the first lap for Danica Patrick is 223.9393. Good lap for Danica. That's going to move her all the way up to 5th at the moment.
Well, Michael said we want a high 223. High 222. Sorry, high 222, excuse me.
So he's got a cushion. And now, so we just need to see how this, you know, is there going to be fall off to that? Was that just one quick lap, and does it fall off from there?
Jack, what's TJ think?
Well, we're going to ask him. That was a pretty good first lap. What do you think, Dan?
That's a great first lap. Now we just got to keep it up there.
All right, we'll keep watching.
Halfway through, second lap about to be completed. Speed, 223, make that 222.730. So she dropped off considerably.
TJ, that's what the team's been concerned about, the drop-off in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, the cars are just sliding when you have no downforce on. They just slide and the tires go away quick.
Yeah, I think they've taken almost all the downforce out of this car, guys.
Yeah, so right now is the time that she's going for those adjustments in the cockpit, and if it's picking up that push, softening that front bar to get the front end to work better and get more bite.
Okay, white flag, keep working the tools.
That was Michael Andretti coming on saying keep working the tools.
Third lap, 222.639, down just a little bit from the second lap. That's Michael, of course, on the right. Half a lap to go for Danica. Onto the front stretch, checkered flag awaits Danica Patrick as she completes her second run, fourth lap, 222.767. Her 4-lap average is 222.882, and instead of 10th, she is now 7th in line. Jack? Well, Danica Patrick qualified a few minutes ago and moved herself up to 7th. Quick, she's with Lindy.
And Danica, you moved up 3 spots, and I just heard you say you still felt a little nervous on parts out there.
Yeah, it was, the car had a little bit of understeer that run. To be honest, the car felt better in the first qualifying run, but then again, that's natural. When you're slower, it's just stuck to the ground. So it was a more edgy run, but you know, I left some on the table with a couple of lifts in turn 2. So you know, it's disappointing from my perspective. I wish that I wouldn't have had those, and I wish I would have been more proactive with my cockpit adjustments to take care of it. But it was just more understeer than I've dealt with so far today. And with the wind conditions, you just don't want to get caught out with some adjustments that make the car nervous. So I would do it differently next time, but I'm not sure if there'll be a next time or not. We'll have to evaluate.
So you feel like there is still speed on the table?
Yeah, there's definitely still speed. You know, with that 223 to start, we would have probably dropped down naturally, as most cars do, but you know, we wouldn't have had that, you know, 222.6 or whatever, or 7, and I think we would have probably dropped down more progressively from the 223.3. So you know, we'll see how it goes, but we're just going to have a look around. We're going to, you know, go through tech and make sure everything's okay, and just go from there.
And I heard Michael telling you, use your tools, use your tools. What were you going through out there?
I didn't hear him say that. But you know, that's definitely our job out there as drivers, to really stay very proactive with the car. And we've got roll bar adjustments and weight jackers to move around, and all of that stuff helps make it easier to get up to speed, and then better when it's at speed. So, you know, it was the first lift in turn 2. I was like, shoot, I should have pulled back that bar because I was understeering. But you know, it's just been a very inconsistent day. So at least we moved up a few spots. I feel more happy and more confident that we'll be able to walk away from the day and be in the show. But you always, like I said, you know, you always want to start your best for the Indy 500.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
You know, certainly the car has been quick all month, and just excited to be back in Indianapolis. Obviously not in the position that I'd like to be in, but there's still a lot of track time left.
Thank you, Dan. And Danica Patrick has taken the green.
The only woman to lead the Indianapolis 500. Best finish came last year in 3rd position. Jack?
But they have struggled ever since they brought this GoDaddy.com car to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I talked to Ziggy Hargis, who works on the crew, and said, how can the car be so bad compared to some of the other cars? He said, that's what's got us really confounded. So what they did yesterday, they went back through their notes, not from this year, not from last year, but from the year before. And Danica and Eddie Jones and the team started putting together a comfort zone for Danica Patrick and said, we'll build from that. She got a little quicker yesterday. Let's see how she does in qualifying.
224.873 is the first lap.
Remember, she had said if they didn't make a change, she'd go back and cry herself to sleep. We got that quote from her yesterday saying it was an improvement. And what she didn't like was that they didn't have stability at the rear. And each driver has a different comfort level of what they like for the rear. Robbie, you mentioned, we just heard from Dan Weldon. He happens to be a guy that doesn't need much comfort. There are other people that want a lot solid feeling rear end. Not that one's faster than the other, it's just driver preference.
And usually when an engineer looks into the eyes of the driver, what he always wants to hear from theirs, he wants the rear of that car to be solid. Usually that's the main thing. If that's solid, then they can keep tuning anything else on the race car. But it's when that rear starts moving around, it's like, oh boy, just takes away your ability to drive it hard into the corner.
224.655 was the second lap for Danica Patrick, a little bit slower than lap number 1.
But again, if she can maintain this pace, I think this is a really good solid pace to make sure you're in that top 24. So when it comes to tomorrow, she can focus on race setup.
A little bit slower on lap number 3, 223.920. Danica Patrick from Roscoe, Illinois. 28 years of age. Sets the car into turn number 3. She resides in Phoenix, Arizona now. calls Roscoe, however, the home, and here she is in turn number 4 onto the front stretch, and Danica Patrick is about to take the checkered flag. Let's see what lap number 4 is, and the tracker says 15th. It is 223.428, average 224.217, and she is 15th, P15. Lindy is with Danica.
Danica, you had told me yesterday you weren't really too comfortable with the stability. How were you feeling out there today?
This is the worst car I've ever had. I couldn't even be flat. The GoDaddy car does not deserve to be this far down. A lot of us are struggling. We're just, cars aren't good. They're really bad.
What do you think the problem is?
I'm not an engineer, so I don't really know. I mean, all I know is that there's no stability or grip, and it's just scary, really scary.
So what are your plans now? What do you do now?
Honestly, the only thing I can imagine doing is just adding downforce and going out again, but would I actually go any quicker? I don't know. On the other hand, somehow I wish it would just be over with now. It's awful. It's awful.
Describe the feeling of being out there going that fast, and you were straight up not feeling safe and comfortable.
I think I'm still shaking. It's scary.
Okay, thanks, Danica.
Graham Rahal now goes on the bubble of the top 24, and Danica Patrick rolls on to the 2.5-mile oval.
Michael Andretti did not certainly seem too optimistic.
No.
I mean,
well, and the thing about it is, like I was trying to say earlier, they don't know what to do. They've tried everything they can try. It's like, okay, where are we going to find 2 miles per hour? It's hard to find, a 0.5 mile an hour at this racetrack. So it's really, they're a loss.
But as of the group, Danica has been the quickest. She has had speed, as you could see from that graphic. They have had her up to speed, but Michael didn't say, well, 4 of us are struggling, but she looks good. He kind of think that corporately they're still missing the missing link.
Patrick ran, in fact, her fastest speed of the week this morning at 226.446. Now, the qualifying line is about to be exhausted, but one of those who passed up the chance is Ed Carpenter, who has been very, very fast, as Danica takes the green. Danica, the only female to lead the Indianapolis 500. That happened in 2005. She finished 3rd here in 2009. Her best start was 4th in 2005.
Not very good right there, Jan. I don't know what you're...
Well, she's starting to gain. It's starting to pick up somewhat, but it's she'll be in the 224s, so she's gaining some speed. Not a aggressive start to the lap, but picking up speed.
More from Marty.
Well, guys, Ed Carpenter will go. He just moved to the end of the line here, was excused from his spot in line. The next car has come to get back in line for a rerun. That is Ryan Briscoe, as you would imagine, the Penske car being pushed up right now, trying to get to the line behind Marco Andretti.
So everybody who was guaranteed a run for the pole has had that chance.
Well, no, Dario,
yeah. But I mean, Ed Carpenter and those who are lining up now, including Marco Andretti. 224.029 for Danica Patrick. Not good enough. Well, yes, it is, if she can continue to average that.
Well, no, the tracker keeps sliding between 24 and 25. She needs 24, sorry.
223.689, yep.
Lost a lot that lap. Now you're at the point where do you say, you know what? We need to pull this thing in and get it in line again and make some changes.
Normally you would say just finish the run, but when you start feeling sprinkles, now hang on a minute, the tracker just went back to 24.
Okay.
Now you're working on 4.
So Oh, now back to 25. But
223.8 on lap 3.
But the thing is, if you know Frankitti's going up behind you, and it's like, all right, I'm going to get knocked out of this deal. So I don't know.
A lesson was learned last year that you need to take what you have and not take it off the table. There were a few people who got burned badly.
But you're going to have to take it off the table here in 5 or 10 minutes anyway.
Yeah, but someone will do it for you, and then you can roll out again.
Each car again gets 3 attempts today. Here's the checkered flag. Danica will complete the run. And let's see what happens here. 223.793. She does bump Graham Rahal with an average of 223.837. But she herself now goes on the bubble of the top 24. Danica Patrick with Kevin Lee.
And unfortunately, none of the Andretti Autosport drivers are in the top 24 right now. Is there a common denominator, or is everybody struggling with something different?
I think, unfortunately, the struggle's been on all kinds of different setups. You know, I felt really strong to start the week. I was hoping for the top 9, and, you know, then they went to my setup. At times, seemed better than, you know, seemed like they had picked up speed, and now this is, I don't know what to think. It's unfortunate. You know, I really thought the GoDaddy car was going to start up the grid further this year, but we're just going to have to go to work. You know, it's Indy. You got to earn it.
Yep, a couple more hours to get some things done, but unfortunately, guys, we felt just a little bit of sprinkles here in the last little while.
And I have to say, I think it goes to show how much effort goes into this race. Being part of a one-off program, their sole focus is this race. And, you know, with the other guys having to do the 4 races leading into this, it may have put them on the back foot a little.
Well, we're going to have, if it doesn't rain anymore, an hour and 15 minutes of all-out speed trying to get into the field for the 500. Remember, the field is full at this point. On the bubble is Alex Lloyd with a 4-lap average. There he is, 223.472. He's back in his garage watching the proceedings on the racetrack.
Said he fully expected to be bumped. He didn't seem like it would be any surprise if he got bumped if it dries. So they're in the process of trying to throw a new setup on his car. He expects that Danica will have the kind of speed to knock him out.
1 warm-up lap completed. Next time she'll take the green flag. Danica Patrick has been in 6 previous Indianapolis 500-mile races and led the race for 19 laps in her rookie year of 2005. Driving for Rahal Letterman Racing. She's been with Andretti Green and Andretti Autosport for the past 4 years.
We have the speeds. We know about the kind of speeds that her teammates turned into turn 1. They were turning in through the trap about 228 or 229 on their first lap. So once she does get the green here, we'll keep an eye on that trap.
All right, here we go. Danica Patrick as Bev, her mom, looks on. Danica Patrick on the track, trying to get into the 500-mile race in the final hour and 15 minutes.
227, sorry, Wally, as she turned in, but her speed in the corners is up a lot.
Yeah, you look at the tracker right now, it's 25th.
Yes, they haven't trimmed it out as much to get the super straight line speed, but her corner speed is great. Actually, at the back straights, 232 miles an hour. Now she has it cranked up.
And she looks pretty comfortable to me. She's not using all of the track, so I think this is going to be a reasonable run for her.
First lap for Danica Patrick, 225.411. Very fast, well enough to get into the starting lineup.
I think she's going to be relieved with that first lap. Seeing that one on your dash, that always makes you feel better.
Alex Lloyd looks in anguish as Danica is on her run.
This is slipping just a little, but it'll be, if she keeps it together here in turn 4, it'll still, well, she's going to be right even. 225 might slip into 224s.
Second lap for Danica's 225.017.
You can kind of feel the anxiety here.
Oh, yeah.
The fans must be going wild.
Well, I think there are a lot of people that couldn't imagine an Indianapolis 500 without Danica Patrick in it.
Good straightaway speeds right there. 231 we saw going into 3.
And sorry to jump over you there, Wally, but it's you know, these last couple of laps, the car definitely starts to move around a little bit more, and it's about staying on top of the controls within the cockpit to keep being able to maintain that consistency, which when it's so tight, the field, it becomes very, very important. You have the weight jackers and the roll bars, and it may look easy, but you're very, very busy within the cockpit itself.
Now, will you, Dan, I mean, you know, you've been around this place enough. Would you change it, like, for each end of the racetrack?
Yeah, particularly yesterday when it was gusty. Yeah, I was having to move weight to the left to get through turn 4, and then obviously I was moving it back to the right to get through turns 1 and 2. But like I say, from experience around here, you really got to stay on top of the race car.
Here is the checkered flag, and Danica Patrick's 4th lap is 224.453. She has qualified for the 500 in good shape. 224.861 miles an hour is the average, and she right now slots into the middle of row number 9, and Alex Lloyd has been bumped out of the race.
All right, Danica, you are in, and you've got a bit of a cushion. You're faster than 8 other drivers. What has this day been like?
I said I skipped my 30s and went straight to my 40s in age after this weekend. You know, it's just one of those weekends that was surprising. I don't think any of us expected to do what happened yesterday. I think we expected more what happened today, although I had quite a bit of fall off, which I wasn't very happy about. I would have liked to have stayed up around 225 the whole time, but, you know, at this point in time, we're choking in the garage. We don't care what the speed is, just as long as it's fast enough to get in. And, you know, this is the Indianapolis 500. You do everything you can. You take what you can get, and you can win from anywhere, right?
You almost were in a situation where you had no chance today. The car had a technical issue, and you lost your spot in line, and then it rained, and for a while it looked like we wouldn't get going again. What was that hour and a half like?
That's what it seemed like. You know, I was saying that the apocalypse for me happened today, and maybe just over a couple thousand years, Nostradamus was off by a day. You know, I'm just really pleased that we're in. It was just one of those days, you know, the car didn't go through tech and it had to go back around again. We lost our spot, and then the rain came and we were up next, and it just almost seemed like something wasn't supposed to happen. But we built some drama for Bump Day.
We appreciate that. Through this experience, have you gained even more respect? Do you appreciate this place even more now?
I was just talking to Brian and Barnhart, and, you know, he said it makes you think really about how good those good days are. And that's so true. I feel like I hang on to my 05 memory so much. I feel like I need to let go and get a new one, but it was just so great, and it makes me even love those memories even more. And, you know, the important thing is now that we focus on making new memories in 2011 and try and get the GoDaddy car as far up the field as possible and try and win the 100th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Danica Patrick, not official.
So here she is, Danica Patrick, back at the Indianapolis 500, ready to go again in what will be the last drive of her racing career. Headed out onto the speedway now to begin her warm-up laps. The 36-year-old from Roscoe, Illinois, here at Indianapolis for the first time since 2011. Former winner in the Verizon IndyCar Series over at Twin Ring Motegi. Ran the Daytona 500 earlier this year and is now here at Indianapolis to bring down the curtain on her career. Had a conversation with her yesterday back in Gasoline Alley. Scott and I did, and I found a couple of things to strike me about Danica's frame of mind. First of all, the confidence, the self-assuredness, the engaging of the fans that were surrounding her and us as we had this conversation. Really cool to see. But the intensity and the understanding of the emotional roller coaster that a week at Indianapolis is. She made no bones about it, made no apologies for it. She's right in the middle of that roller coaster like all these other drivers, and it's not an easy thing to do.
She's got it well thought out, as you mentioned, but the thing that strikes me, if you take it back to when she came here for the open test, Alan, and she was about ready to run the refresher test the very next day. Remember, she came up to us in the pit wall when you and I were standing there, and when you said to her, "How you doing?" And she looked at you and went, "I'm nervous." Yeah. It's not even a hello we got out of her. It's "I'm nervous," taken to now that she's been on the track a few times, and the old Danica is back. The confidence was there, as you mentioned today, and she knows what she needs out of a race car, and even the team says, and even Ed Carpenter said, I'm very proud of her because she's come in here and stuck to her own program, done her own thing with her own car, and she's really got a smart mind about her.
Now, she's also got a fast race car. As we've talked about the Chevrolet versus Honda, this is one of the Chevrolets, not only the Penske Chevrolets, but the Ed Carpenter Racing Chevrolets have shown pace in those no-tow single-car speeds that came out yesterday. Danica Patrick was 7th fastest of everyone.
They've shown pace in IndyCar for the past 3 or 4 years in qualifying. His cars have always been quick. But going back to Danica Patrick, she comes from cars, NASCARs, that are a lot slower than these. And for her to be able to make this jump as efficiently as she has done shows the amount of talent that she has in these open-wheel cars.
Another car that's actually, the car is working better in turns 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4, because she does lose a little bit in 3 and 4. Now with the wind that it is, and the windsock has just died. I'm looking out of our booth right now, and the windsock has actually gone down from where it was. So this is great for her. The car will handle very well for her, but she certainly seems to lose a little bit here in 3 and 4.
The amount of road that she's using looks very similar to what Castroneves was using. If you watch her on the exit of the corners, she's leaving a lot of room, just like Castroneves did, who is currently quickest.
So lost about a half a mile an hour on that second lap. 27. I say down to. I guess everything's relative.
Well, you know, and I'm watching here right now. I call it shallows the car in. She sort of guides the car in, sort of low, maybe a little bit soon, ends up a little bit high on the exit. Everybody has their own preferred line. We watched Elio. He was a later on the turn in, got down closer to the white line. It's all about what the car will offer you and what will give you. But as you talk about, guys, to come here and be flat out around this racetrack and to see the speeds that she's doing is completely incredible. And she doesn't come here under the radar. She comes here with a lot of pressure on her.
Very tidy run. Patrick's hope was to put herself in position to try and make the Fast 9 for tomorrow. 2 turns away. And checkered flag for Danica Patrick. And she will come up with the 5th fastest run so far of the 15 that have gone. 4-lap average, 227.610 miles an hour.
For having been away as long as she was, that is quite an impressive run.
Standing by with Danica Patrick, we were just talking about whether you had made any adjustments in the car between the earlier qualification setup and after the temperatures changed.
Well, I don't change things on the car. So if you mean in the cockpit, everything started where I wanted it to start, which was the same as yesterday. I mean, the balance was very similar the entire run. I didn't have the room to sort of chase it and keep freeing it up. Turn one was a little free just for a second in the middle. So I was like, you know what? It's good through 2, good through 3, good through 4, do it again. 1 feels the same, good through 2. So I just left it. So I don't know if I left some on the table that way, but it's interesting to know if, you know, the conditions are affecting the speed or not. I'm not fresh enough to go like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. But, you know, it's definitely hotter out now and the sun's beating down. So humidity's up probably, I'm sure. At least it feels like it in my suit.
Let's talk about doing 4 laps at speed, because we've talked to a lot of drivers who talk about, you know, that's a really difficult thing to do. And now you're back at, you've been running all week.
4 laps is the shortest I've pretty much run the entire time I've been here back, so.
But all out.
Look, I've had many more laps than 4 in a row that feel horrible in traffic. So Yeah, I mean, when you're in qualifying trim, your car is going to be as balanced as you can get it. You know, you're by yourself, and the difference between getting a speed in practice and getting a speed in qualifying is you're getting it by less downforce in practice, but in race trim you're getting it by horsepower. So with the boost and everything, so it kind of cancels out the speed a little bit. But everything was under control. I wish it would have been a little bit faster. I'd like to have been in the 228s, all of them, but I'm back. I feel good. The car's good, so we'll just see where we end up.
All right, there you go. Danica solidly in the field. Now she just has to find out whether she's in the Fast 9. Alan?
Danica Patrick will be the first driver to go onto the racetrack here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The drivers earning their spot in the Fast 9 in yesterday's bump day qualification runs. Now going in reverse order of their speeds from yesterday. Patrick, 9th fastest. She'll be first today. About the journey for Danica Patrick, from a young girl leaving her home, dropping out of high school to move to Europe, to make her way through the tough junior circuits there, coming back to the United States, earning her way up to IndyCar, recognized by Bobby Rahal as someone on the rise, becoming a winner in IndyCar Series racing, and without question, making her fame by her success here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think it's fair to say that of all the tracks in her racing career, this has been her best track, and this is where she'll finish her career in next Sunday's 500.
It's very interesting because when we saw her at the test just a couple of weeks ago when she came here, Alan, you and I were standing by the pit wall, and she came up to say hello, and we said, "How are you feeling?" And she said, "Nervous." Yesterday, as we heard her talk about just a little bit a moment ago, she is now feeling more confident. It is a big step to get here when you're racing full-time in Indy cars to run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Eddie, when you've been away since 2011 and racing in NASCAR, a completely different car, to come back here and compete, but to come back here and compete with a spotlight shining onto you, the pressure is on her full.
When she led the Indianapolis 500 for the first time, the whole world stood up and paid attention, and it's only fitting that she ends her career here. And to have gotten into the Fast 9 as easily as she did is a phenomenal achievement.
Patrick driving for Ed Carpenter Racing in this race. All three of Carpenter's machines, Chevrolet powered, made the Fast 9. So with a good team, with a comfortable team, solid first lap, 2:28.5. They had a group press conference last night with some of the faster drivers at the end. And I think it was 3 times in that press conference Ed Carpenter said to Danica on the microphone, "You can't start any worse than 9th. You can't start any worse than 9th." So really, she can't start any worse than 9th in the 500, no matter how today turns out. Even at that, starting 9th, that's pretty good for somebody who hasn't been here since 2011.
If she keeps up this pace, I don't think she's going to start 9th. She's going to start farther up than that.
Second lap, 2:28.3. Yesterday, in making that 9th fastest run of the day, Danica's 4-lap average was 2:27.6.
You can see how she's working the steering wheel. She's doing that because she can feel the road all the way through her body, through that form-fitted seat. Her hand comes off the steering wheel, going to some of the cockpit adjustments that she has, the tools, as we call it in the trade. So making a roll bar adjustment to make the car handle just a little bit different. The tires are starting to wear as the run goes on. The car starts to slide. She has to be on top of it to make sure she can keep her speed up.
White flag, third lap speed for Patrick, 2:27.9.
You can hear the RPM sort of dip down a little bit in the middle of the turn. That's a scrubbing of speed. She feels that. She hears that. She also knows her speed because when she goes across the start and finish line, her computer dash tells her exactly the speed that she just completed.
But really, the only job she has is not to take her foot off the throttle, and she's doing that very well without using up all the track.
which was a similar line that Castroneves took yesterday.
Elio was the fastest yesterday. Checkered flag. And the first driver to complete a Fast 9 run, Danica Patrick, in with a 4-lap average of 228.090 miles an hour. There's her team owner, Ed Carpenter, who will be the second to last driver to go. Himself a 2-time pole sitter for this 500. So qualifying is over. Now it's just the final practices and the race for Patrick that have run to this point. Down to Rick DeBrule.
Well, Danica Patrick, before you went out, you said you were looking for 4 boring laps. Were those boring enough for you?
Yeah, I had one little slip of the front end on the exit of 1. That was the only non-boring part, but other than that, it was very straightforward. There's a gamble in just the amount of downforce and as you get going faster and trim out further, the balance becomes more critical. So we pretty much just him-hawed around about how do you accomplish the balance that we know exists from the day before and the day before that with the most amount of trim possible. So, but then you can't trim so far that you slide around. So look, the fear of, having a bad day is always there. Look at Rossi. I mean, he almost bumped me out yesterday, and then he, has a tough run and doesn't qualify very well. And that's possible here. Like, Indy's just crazy. It's one day to the next changes. So I'm grateful for all the good days that I've had. ECR has been fantastic. GoDaddy's back on the car. It's all good. It's all good. And I'm glad that part's over with. And now it's time for 500 fun miles.
Well, the first part's out of the way. Now she's ready for the race.
All right, Rick, thanks. Look at the smile. That's good to see. Think about it, coming back here after not having been here since 2011.